Greetings, everybody. Maximus here. Well, while our U.S. president is busy giving the Chinese Communist Party guided hot air balloon tours of our super-secret nuclear weapons facilities as if they were the Griswolds on family vacation, this week Airbus just announced plans for a second final assembly line in China, the latest sign that it has a lock on the key aviation market over rival Boeing. The announcement came as part of a state visit by French President Emmanuel Macron to China. The signing of the agreement by Airbus CEO Guillaume Faury was witnessed by Chinese President Xi Jinping and by French President Emmanuel Macron. Aw, how cute. This new expansion will add yet another line to the final assembly facility that Airbus opened in Tianjin, China in 2008, where Airbus has assembled 600 A320 family aircraft to date. The existing Airbus Chinese assembly facility presently assembles 4 jets a month from major parts shipped from Europe and is complemented by a local supply chain, with plans to reach a monthly capacity of 6 this year. However, the new plant is expected to double that number. It will also bring the number of Airbus assembly lines to 10 operating or planned worldwide, including 4 in Germany, 2 in France, and 2 in the United States. Airbus, the world's largest plane maker, which has overtaken Boeing as a commercial aircraft supplier to China amid tensions between Washington and Beijing, also got the go-ahead to deliver 160 jets already. However, Airbus failed to win any new orders during the French state visit to the communist nation. Airbus chief executive Guillaume Faury told reporters during his first visit to China since the end of the pandemic that the recovery here is quite impressive. We see very strong momentum. Airbus says China's traffic will grow by 5.3% annually over the next 2 decades, outstripping a global average of 3.6%. Airbus operates assembly sites around the world, but it forecasts that China's air traffic in particular will grow 5.3% annually over the next 20 years. That's significantly faster than the world average of 3.6%. Airbus predicts this will lead to a demand for 8,420 passenger and freighter aircraft between now and 2041. Representing more than 20% of the world's total demand for new aircraft. Coincidentally, Boeing has also projected similar forecasts for China's aircraft demand in the future. Faury said the expansion would boost the European company's plans to lift output of the single-aisle A320neo to 75 a month in 2026, up from 45 at end of 2022, and leave some room for surge capacity. A separate framework or general terms agreement authorizes the delivery to China of 160 aircraft already on Airbus's books, including 150 Neos and 10 A350s. Witnessed by reporters, Faury signed the agreement a day after Macron said, Europe must resist reducing trade and diplomatic ties with China following tensions between China and the West. Oh, so Macron wants to get even closer to China. Well, that must make Europeans feel proud. However, the lack of new business fell short of some expectations, after an official in Macron's office earlier said the trip would not merely consist of repackaging announcements. Industry sources said Airbus was negotiating new orders on the sidelines of Macron's trip, but no immediate announcement was expected. In November, China approved existing deals for 140 Airbus jets during a visit by German Chancellor Olaf Scholz. Diplomats say the bundling of big-ticket aircraft orders is carefully crafted at such summits, but industry officials said there was no double counting between the 2 European visits. However, a person with detailed knowledge of past China jet negotiations said that part of announcing more sales for Europe is diplomacy as far as China is concerned. Kind of like poking the U.S. in the eye, if you will. It's a way of sending a message to the Americans, he said. In the past, China has tended to split jet purchases between Airbus and Boeing, but deals with Boeing have slowed significantly in recent years amid trade and political tensions. Worsening trade relations between the U.S. and China have basically locked Boeing out of that key market for aircraft. Thursday's deal includes the sale of another 160 Airbus aircraft to China, where more than 2,100 are in service already. Boeing has not reported an order for a commercial passenger plane from a Chinese airline since 2017, only for orders from Chinese aircraft leasing companies that could be buying them on behalf of buyers outside of China or for freight aircraft, a segment of the market that Boeing dominates. And deliveries to Chinese customers by Boeing have also plunged. So far this year, Boeing has delivered only 777 freighters to China Air Cargo, and there were only 12 jets delivered in all of 2022, 8 freighters and 4 to a leasing company. Boeing's best-selling plane, the 737 MAX, which is a competitor to the A320 family that Airbus is assembling in China, has had trouble re-entering the Chinese market following the 20-month MAX grounding. China was one of the last countries to allow the plane to fly in its airspace again. And even with that clearance, none of the Chinese customers of the plane have accepted deliveries of 138 MAXs built for them during the grounding that are still sitting in Boeing's inventory, forcing Boeing to try to find other buyers for some of those aircraft at discounted prices. Last year, Boeing CEO Dave Calhoun said of the U.S.-China tension, "All Boeing can do now is wait and hope for relations between the two countries to improve so it can again start making substantial sales and deliveries in China again." In October, Calhoun said, "My hope is that these two big geopolitical forces get together and endorse free trade again so that they can take more deliveries of airplanes. But it's really hard for me to find signals that things are going to change in China and move in our direction," he added. So how about that? So it seems that Europe continues to cozy up to China while the US is trying to find ways to be less reliant on China. Now there's a paradox for you. Well, that's all I have for now. But what do you think? Especially my European subscribers. Do you like that Europe is getting further entrenched with the communist government of China? Or do you think it's a bad idea? Personally, I think it's a huge mistake, but that's just me. How about you? So please be sure to let me know down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and ring the bell. And remember, leave the rubber on the runway and your troubles on the ground. And I will see you next time in the air. Yeah, this is Maximus.